Imagine a child, on the brink of death, their heart failing. Then, out of nowhere, an anonymous act of kindness changes everything. This isn't a fairy tale, it's the true story of how an unseen hand saved a life, leaving behind a ripple of hope and wonder. The rain had been falling for hours, tracing long, silver lines down the hospital windows. Inside room 214, a fragile heartbeat flickered across a monitor, slow, uneven, and growing weaker. 9-year-old Lena Matthews lay still, her skin pale, her chest rising and falling in shallow waves. She had been waiting for a new heart for months. Waiting for a miracle that seemed farther away with every passing day. Doctors had done everything they could. They'd called hospitals across the country, searched registries, and appealed for donors. But time was running out, and the news was grim. Lena's heart was failing, and the chances of finding a match were slim. Her mother, Grace, sat beside her daughter's bed, whispering prayers into trembling hands. Every beep of the monitor felt like a countdown, every passing second another step closer to goodbye. Then, just when the night felt its darkest, the phone rang. A nurse answered, and froze. The call came from the National Transplant Coordination Center. A heart had just been made available. Perfect match. Perfect timing. But here was the strange part, no name, no identity. The donor's information was sealed by request. Anonymous. Grace fell to her knees as the news broke. She didn't know who had made the donation, or how it was possible so suddenly, but none of that mattered. Her daughter had a chance to live. The next few hours were a blur, doctors prepping, nurses moving with focused urgency, and the sound of a stretcher rolling down the sterile hallways. Lena's surgery began before dawn. Outside the operating room, her mother clutched her daughter's stuffed bear, a small, worn thing with one eye missing. It had been Lena's comfort since birth. Inside, surgeons worked tirelessly. The old, failing heart was lifted away, and in its place, a new rhythm began. Steady. Strong. Alive. When the operation was done, the chief surgeon removed his mask and smiled for the first time in days. "It's beating beautifully," he said softly. "She's going to make it." Grace wept into her hands. The impossible had happened. But no one could explain the sudden donation, or the mysterious conditions surrounding it. All they knew was that an unseen stranger had just saved a child's life. Hours turned into days, and Lena began to heal. The color returned to her cheeks, her laughter, faint but growing, filled the hospital room once again. She didn't understand how close she had come to the edge. She only knew that she could breathe again. That she could dream again. On the third morning after her surgery, a nurse entered the room with an envelope. There was no return address, no signature, no clue of who sent it. Inside was a single handwritten note. It read, "Every heart deserves to beat." Grace held the note to her chest and cried. Whoever this person was, they hadn't just given a heart. They had given a story of hope, one that would ripple far beyond the hospital walls. The story of Lena's miracle spread quietly at first, a whisper among hospital staff, a headline in the local paper. Anonymous donor saves child's life. But soon, it reached beyond city limits, touching hearts around the world. Reporters tried to trace the mysterious donor. Who could they be? Someone wealthy? A philanthropist? Or perhaps a grieving parent who'd just lost their own child? The truth remained hidden, locked away behind a wall of silence. Grace never sought to uncover the name. Some gifts, she said, are meant to remain unseen. The power is not in who gave it, it's in what it gave. Lena recovered fully over the next year. She returned to school, fragile at first but filled with a quiet strength. She started drawing hearts, hundreds of them, in every color she could find. Each one, she'd say, belongs to someone who helped me live. Her story inspired an entire movement of kindness. Donations to children's hospitals surged. A local charity, Project Heartline, was founded in her name, dedicated to helping families waiting for transplants afford the long, painful wait. And through it all, the note remained framed above her bed, "Every heart deserves to beat." But the mystery wasn't over. 2 years later, on the anniversary of Lena's surgery, a letter arrived at the hospital addressed simply to "the girl with the new heart." It had no sender's name, only initials, AD. Inside was another message, brief, but powerful. "Your heart beats for two now. Live fully. Love deeply. And when you can, pass it on." Grace read it aloud, tears welling in her eyes. Whoever AD was, they hadn't just saved a life, they had changed the course of many others. Time passed. Lena grew older, stronger, more curious. She didn't spend her days searching for the donor's identity. Instead, she chose to live in the meaning behind their act. At 16, she began volunteering at the same hospital that once held her between life and death. She sat beside children waiting for transplants, holding their hands, whispering, "Don't give up. Miracles happen." One day, a young boy asked her, "Who saved you?" She smiled. "Someone I'll never meet," she said. "But I see them every time my heart beats." In a world where headlines are filled with chaos, and kindness often goes unnoticed, stories like this remind us that even the quietest acts can echo for generations. We may never know who AD was, or why they chose to remain hidden. But maybe that's the point. True generosity doesn't seek recognition. It simply gives, and walks away. So next time you see someone struggling, remember, you don't need a name to change a life. Sometimes, all it takes, is a heart willing to give. If this story moved you, take a moment to spread the light. Hit the like button, share this story of hope, and tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. And if you believe in stories that restore faith in humanity, don't forget to subscribe, because here, every story reminds us, every heart deserves to beat.